Hey guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Laura, and today we're just doing a little bit of a chitty chat kind of home vlog video. I do have a Queenstown Wanaka vlog that I am working on that I really want to get out to you guys soon, but there's a lot going on right now, so I feel like it's more appropriate for this week for me to just kind of talk with you guys, be really honest about everything that's going on and kind of how I'm dealing with that, because things in my life are feeling a bit out of control right now. So let's talk about that a bit more and what I think you can do to help when things are feeling out of control and what I am trying to do right now. I like to kind of make sure that I'm feeling like okay and reasonably put together in myself. So I'm gonna do my makeup first and then we'll talk some more. I feel like it's really always helpful when I am struggling to be able to look in the mirror and go, well, you don't look like you're struggling. You look like you're reasonably put together. And that kind of helps things. I never do too much makeup on the weekend. I don't think I do that much makeup generally, but especially on the weekend. But since I am going to be filming, although I'm literally filming myself putting it on, I don't know why. I always just put on a little bit. So this weekend has just been a bit of a difficult one for me. I haven't been feeling great all week. I'm sick, which doesn't help things. If you guys watched my most recent Brisbane vlog, you'll know that I was sick then and I really didn't get to film as much as I wanted to because I was so exhausted from being sick. But that kind of lingered just in the background, not really doing anything. And then literally at the end of this week, so before the weekend, it just came through with a vengeance. So I now have this really gross cough. And I'm hoping that you guys don't hear me cough, but it just means that I'm feeling really exhausted, I think, as my body's trying to deal with that. And it's just not a fun time. And that just doesn't help anything. Like, I feel like that's kind of what everyone says, right? Like, if you are having a bad time and then you're also sick, it just makes it way worse. So that's kind of where I am at. I'm not even really thinking about this as I'm doing it. I've never really done the makeup and talking thing. I know that that's a whole genre and I love it, but I've never really done that. So this is quite tricky actually. Crap. Okay, I'm down to the last little bits of this. As I tipped it open and tried to just use the mirror, I just tipped half of what I have left out on the floor. So I'm gonna focus up a little bit and get this done and then actually keep talking. Whew. All right, makeup is done. Let's go outside for a bit and start there. Why am I feeling this way? Why am I struggling the way that I am at the moment? I'd say it's kind of one of those times where it's just a perfect storm. Like there's not anything that's necessarily, I want to say there's not necessarily anything that's horrifically bad. There is some stuff that is quite bad. It's not stuff that I can really talk about in detail just yet, but there is some stuff that has been sort of on a life scale really quite difficult. And it's not necessarily that that's like the end of the road on that issue, and it's a couple of issues, but it's kind of it's the end of like a path down the road that we thought that we could go down. So yeah, we're kind of at some big junctions on a couple of different issues, but just on top of those things, it also feels like there's a lot of okay, the neighbor's dog will not let me record out here, so I am now gonna move inside. Talking about lots of like little things that just happen that don't help. Okay, we are back. Just a lot of little things that happen, and maybe in hindsight, it's the context of the fact that the big things are happening that then make the small things feel just so overwhelming. That's probably a good way to describe how I've been feeling for the last 4 to 6 weeks, is just really, really overwhelmed. But I do want to talk about what I am doing or trying to do to try and make all of that more manageable. So firstly, as I said just before, trying to make myself feel somewhat presentable is a really good way to start. That has been a little bit even more difficult the last few days because we are partway through a bathroom renovation. So for us to like shower and everything, we are going to a gym just down the road. Trying to feel better, yeah, just feeling clean and all that is really helpful. But then when you have to pack up all your stuff and drive down the road to do that, that just feels like even more effort. And so that is really tough. But it does help. It is better than the alternative, but yeah, it's just not easy. I think that's kind of the theme. There's a lot of things that just aren't easy. Something that I did a few months ago and then I also did the other day was when I feel like there are just so many things in my brain that are wearing me down and getting to me and kind of putting me into that panic space where I feel like there is just too much, where there are just so many things in my head that I cannot keep track of them, and it's just like my head is spinning like this. And I try think through all of them and try kind of tick them off in my head and go, I'm worried about this thing, but I am doing this thing to deal with it. I'm worried about this thing, but I'll find out about it on this day. And I start listing them off and then I go, there's too many. I can't keep track of all of these. It's just too much. And what I've realized is that by writing them down and then coming back to them every few days, I actually start to feel far more in control. And I don't know if that's just like a type A kind of personality thing or an anxious person thing where we are actually doing things and making things happen, but we're just not good at actually recognizing it because it's just the norm or whatever. I'm actually trying to recognize where I'm taking things off and what those things are. And that can be really helpful for, yes, I am trying to acknowledge my feelings of overwhelm, but also for going, okay, I was super overwhelmed 5 days ago, and this is the list that I wrote of everything that was weighing on my mind. And I can now tell myself like, oh, actually those 4 or 5 things, those aren't weighing on my mind nearly as much. I can actually see, I have seen in the last few days that those things are going to be much less of a problem than I thought. So doing things like that, where I am trying to bring all of those things in my brain down to size a bit, is really helpful. Sometimes it can feel scary to write down all of those things. I think in those moments I just have to try and trust that it will make it easier by writing it down, no matter what it is, and it's always going to be harder to just have it in my brain and not be able to see it. So that has been helpful. I haven't scripted this today like at all, so this is really just what's coming to my mind as I kind of look around. I'll show you guys what the house looks like right now with the bathroom renovation, and that'll give me a chance to think about what else I kind of want to say on this topic. All right, so our house right now. I do really want to do like an actual house tour, but this is what we have right now. So that's my bag that I took all my stuff to the gym in this morning to shower. Our washing machine is in the living room, and our table is pushed up here. That's all my work stuff, because this is all of the jib or plasterboard, or I think in America it's called sheetrock. This is what we're going to use for our bathroom. We are using the dumbbells to try and like hold it there. I literally just put this shelf up this morning. We already have these 2 and I've put up this 3rd one because I had this wood spare and I'm very excited for it. All of this DIY stuff. Yep. I literally, see, there's where I drilled the holes. I haven't even vacuumed it. I was like, no, I need to start writing this video. Okay, this is our bathroom. We took down the ceiling. This insulation came down. I haven't put it back up because we need to sort what's happening with the light and the extractor fan. These planks of wood I'm going to use to make some shelves and some other stuff, and these are in here drying because it was not meant to rain last night, and it did, and they got wet. So classic Auckland. But yeah, this is our bathroom right now. So that also doesn't help things. Wait, let me see. Do I want to set this dehumidifier going again? Yes, I'm going to set this going for another hour. Cool. So yeah, in case you're wondering, that is also why we have our ironing board in the living room, is because of that. But yeah, on top of those things that you can kind of physically see or know really clearly in your mind are not going well for you right now and are kind of causing you to struggle, I think that sometimes we also don't give ourselves enough credit for the things that are going on in our minds, because we all have things that we hope for and things that we want to achieve and things that we want to feel like we're doing well at, and things that happen in our lives that disappoint us, that let us down, that cause us to feel grief, or that cause us to feel loss, big things and small things. And maybe I'm just someone who feels things more strongly. When you do those tests for like highly sensitive people, that's me. I feel things more strongly. And that can be amazing, and it can also be really exhausting. So I suppose a lot of what I'm saying comes back to trying to reassure yourself in different ways that you are actually doing good enough, because if you feel positive, if you feel like you're doing a good job, it makes it easier for you to carry on. It's that whole positive reinforcement thing. We need to remember to do that with ourselves. And I feel like I give great positive reinforcement to my husband and to the dog. But I sometimes struggle with it myself. So I think that that's a great thing, giving yourself positive reinforcement each time you do something that is towards your goals and towards keeping you healthy and happy and motivated and on top of things. Give yourself a pat on the back, because you're never going to do it perfect, but each time you do take a step in the right direction, give yourself some positivity back for that. I would say also giving yourself space to try process the things that are really hard. It's great to keep busy and to keep focused on what you can control, but sometimes the things you can't control and the things that are getting you down just keep chasing you and chasing you and chasing you, and you actually need to sit down and acknowledge those for a little bit. You need some time, whether it's with yourself or with your partner or with your dog or with your sister or your brother or a friend, to just sit down and go, hey, this thing here that you know about or don't know about, this is really getting me down, because I really wanted this thing to happen and it didn't, and now I don't know what to do about it, or now I'm just waiting to hear about it and that scares me, or whatever. Give that thing some space. It's that whole like processing and sitting with your emotions, so then you can kind of move on from them. And it's not to say that that thing will magically go away, but give it some space and some time, so that then you can have some time and some space away from it. You can't just magically move on from everything instantly. It's not how our brain works. And I'm not a psychologist, but I know that much, right? So give yourself some time and space on that. In that same vein of like giving yourself positive reinforcement, for me, a big thing right now that I'm really trying to work on is making sure that I'm not setting myself up for failure at the beginning. If I am choosing to prioritize something, knowing that it is going to throw everything else out the window. Like, let's say I was going to have people staying this week or whatever, and I really wanted to get the house perfectly tidy, and I'm like, I'm going to get the house perfectly clean. Why on earth am I choosing to do that when I know there's going to be other people in my space? Like, that is not the time to be focusing on that. I am just going to set myself up for failure. I'm going to set myself up to feel like I failed and like my efforts were for nothing and all of this. So as much as you want to try control in the moment, how am I talking to myself? Am I just saying that I'm a screw up? Do I need to change my perspective? Beforehand, if you can see that you're just going to be setting yourself up for failure, try not to do that. Really, really and be really honest with yourself on that. And I think that that's the bit that I really struggle with, and that probably a lot of people do, is being honest with yourself. You go, oh no, it'll be fine. I'll do this and I'll do that, and that'll be good enough, and I'll be happy with that. Or I'll do this and I'll do that, and that'll totally work. Like, I'll totally just control all of these other people and make it work, whatever. It doesn't help us. It really, really doesn't help us. I think that we need to learn to be more realistic and gracious with ourselves a lot of the time, particularly for us anxious type A folks. We feel like we are going to feel good by doing literally as much as possible, knowing that actually we're never going to feel like we've done as much as possible. We're always going to feel like we didn't quite meet that, so we need to set ourselves up to feel okay within that. And I think that that's really, for me, been a helpful thing, particularly when you've got loads on, particularly when you've got lots of things taking your focus. You have to choose to consciously let certain things go. And I don't mean let them go like completely, like just don't care about them at all, or if that's going to be freeing for you and what you need to do, go do that. But just letting go of certain things deliberately. I think another thing that I've been trying to really grasp recently to help me through all of this, because our current situation, there's a lot that I want, but there's also a lot that I have a lot of uncertainty about, in terms of especially timing, yeah. Within that, I've been trying to hold on to things lightly. For me, that means that I am planning things and imagining things and trying to scope things and figure out how I might want to do things, whilst also knowing that the plans for that may have to change at a moment's notice, or that they may just have to change. And as, like I'm saying for the third time, as an anxious person, I really want certainty around what's going to happen. And if I wanted to, I could try and create this certainty in my mind and say, this is definitely going to happen. I'm definitely going to do this at this time. We're definitely going to make this happen at this point. But it's a fallacy. And if I'm being honest, I know that. I know that I can try and say that this is exactly how this is going to happen, because I can imagine that it would be that way, but I know that actually I don't have that much control over it. I have control over certain aspects, but parts of it I have no control over whatsoever. And so, whilst being in certain situations that I don't want to be in anymore, I am trying to imagine and plan for the changes that I want to make and the things that I do then want to do, whilst knowing that I don't have control over all of those things. And that's kind of a really complex thing in your mind, because I feel like there's no get out of jail free card. There's no way to just hack this and know that I can get exactly what I want eventually. Like, I don't know that I'm going to get exactly what I want eventually. I don't. And that can be a scary thing, but it doesn't mean I shouldn't work towards it and plan towards it and do what I can to control that situation. But it may still not happen. And that's a scary thing. And you may be sitting here going, well, that's just life, Laura. And like, I know that. I know it's just life. I know, but it's still really hard. It's still really, really hard. It's a really, really hard thing. Maybe that's kind of what I needed to hear today from myself and to say to you guys, is that it may just be life. It may just be the trials and tribulations of life, and the up and the down, and the things that surprise us, and the things that we can't control, and all of these little things that build up during our day-to-day and whatever. But it doesn't mean it's not hard. And it doesn't mean that we don't need to have time to just stop and exist in that for a bit and try and get ourselves together as best we can to carry on. And that's really what I'm doing today. So, in a more practical sense, What am I doing to keep on top of this stuff? What am I doing to try and keep that feeling of control and like I'm onto it enough, but not so much that I'm trying to kid myself and say that I've got it all figured out and I'll make it all happen exactly as I want to, because I know that that won't happen. I am getting out for a walk with Bailey every day because he won't let me sit on the sofa unless I do. He will come and nudge me. So thank you for that, buddy. I am technically getting to the gym every day because I need to go there to shower at the moment. But I am actually also trying to do gymming at the gym most days. I'm trying to do my food prep because I always feel better when I have leftovers prepped in the fridge ready to go for lunches or dinners. I don't know if that's like a food insecurity thing. Just a general kind of thing, but yeah, I try to do that. It's gonna sound so silly. I try and make sure that there's like nice snacks made up for my husband. Not because he asks me to, but because I know that he loves snacking and I really want there to be nice things there for him. And that makes me feel happy when I know that he's got nice things there for him. So I have made some protein ball things with a protein powder that I didn't really like. It's pea protein. It has a weird aftertaste for me. Josh can't taste it, so it's salted caramel flavor. So I've made him these like salted caramel chocolate chip protein balls. So those are in the fridge, so that's cool. I try to have the pantry reasonably stocked so that when I do need to cook, I've kind of got basically what I need there. I try to keep the house reasonably clean and tidy. We have a dog, so we have to vacuum every few days. Oh, trying to keep a regular sleep schedule. Yeah. To get to the gym and do everything, I need to get up reasonably early. So I'm just trying really hard every day to get to bed early enough. That's kind of the point where I either makes or breaks it. Get to bed early enough so that I can get up early enough so that my schedule is all on time. Oh, and coming back to schedule, trying to have a schedule and keep it. Don't know what it is with my brain, just being like an all over the place kind of person. But I struggle with schedule and keeping a schedule. But then when I do actually keep a schedule, it feels really awesome, but I struggle to actually do it. I don't know, it's like when you really don't want to have a shower, but then you get in the shower and it's the best thing ever. And then you don't want to get out of the shower. It's like you don't want to get in, you don't want to get out, but you love it when you're in it. It's this whole thing, right? So I don't want to do a schedule, but then I also love the schedule. So I'm just reminding myself that I actually really love the schedule and trying to stick to that. Generally trying not to do too much. I have this thing in my brain that wants everything to be done all at once right now, immediately, which is obviously not realistic. So trying to consciously know, what am I trying to prioritize right now? Am I trying to do too much? And if I am, go, nah, what can I push out? Because again, it comes back to the setting yourself up for failure thing. If you're trying to do too much all at once, you're also just going to set yourself up for failure. So I'm trying to be really strict with myself on not trying to do too much and just trying to be really proactive with that, of taking things off my plate. Because it's like Josh was telling me about the research they did into power naps. They were trying to figure out for pilots when they needed to nap on like a 19-hour journey or something. And it wasn't when they were really tired. It was when they were like first starting to feel like a little bit tired, that was when they needed to nap, right? So I feel like that kind of translates over to when you're first starting to feel like maybe there's a bit too much going on, that's when you need to prioritize and take stuff off your plate, right? So that is me, I think, for today. So this is kind of where I'm at and how I've been feeling and what I'm doing to try and address that. So I hope that that has been helpful for you guys. And that as a lot of you in the northern hemisphere are coming into autumn and everyone's back at school and work and everything, that you guys get some value from this on how to try and keep things a bit more under control and manageable. And for us here in the southern hemisphere, who are coming up to Christmas soon and are going to get our break soon, hang in there. Do the best that you can with what you have. Be honest with yourself. Check in with yourself. Go walk your dog. And I will see you guys next week. Take care. Bye.